The white ceramic cuirass hugs your torso, shielding your vitals without adding much bulk to your form. Your movements cause tiny little clicks, like dice rolling somewhere far away, as the plates reorient to your motions. The hardened vitreous enamel, at once sleek and voluptuous, adds a glow to your cheeks and a spring to your step. Just imagine what a full suit of this stuff could do for you. You really do feel more confident. Invulnerability does that. Even partial invulnerability. Remember, this is a highly specialized kinetic redistributor meant to stop bullets. Wear it. Observe its properties. See if there's a weakness in the design. For the day you have to fight someone covered in the same material. The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone while the other watches him do it. This one doesn't say anything, kicking the concrete with his worn-out sneaker.
Lily's our mum.
The stone kicker laughs suddenly. His head is too large for his shoulders. The other one laughs as well.
Yes. Yes. You're stupid.
Just a second ago, the first one was laughing. Now he's doing something with his lips and his gap tooth. It looks like he's sad because you're going, or who knows, really. Is that the phasmid? It looks like the phasmid, leaning against the wall. It's not the phasmid. It's not even organic. It's a fire iron. How disappointing, right? You'll have better luck next time, though. The phasmid, finding it is your destiny.
Mister, what were you doing in my fireplace? Oh, okay. It's Lammy!
Lambie is a stuffed lamb that...
Yes, very soft. Isn't he soft? Bye!
Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn on the lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open.
Let's go.
As you do, you hear the echo of the doomed commercial area, its black holes and dusty machines. Then the feeling passes. A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum. In the heart of the city, A machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity.
Another radio computer. And this time it's already turned on. We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case. It's also quite similar to the one we have down at the station. Must be the same model.
The one you saw earlier was the Ream Civic. This is the Ream Prefect, a model number RC7024, equipped with a Feld mainframe and a Ream-compatible interim printer. You see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the central compartment is wide open. The lieutenant says nothing. You see the machine's glowing frame reflected back from his diamond-shaped glasses. You're free to proceed. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape on the side says, in black marker, log, February to March. Another filament memory. Press play to talk with the repeater. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Good afternoon, Fortress Accident on Saint-Brune. This is the East Insulindian Computer Station 1. Please repeat, is this the personal log?
It's the same old woman you spoke with through the radio computer in the doomed commercial area.
Good, thank you. Please repeat, Is this the personal log? Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer.
No. Received. I will register this login attempt. Fortress Accident, is there anything else I can do for you today? I have 2 machines registered to this company name in Martinez. One on Saint-Brun, the other on Rue de Saint-Ghislaine.
Saint-Brun, that's the church. And Rue de Saint-Ghilaine? That's the doomed commercial area.
Anything else I can help you with? Goodbye, Fortress Accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play and print buttons. Nothing happens. In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. The world is silent, but for the creaks and cracks of the massive wooden structure behind you. It covers you from the wind outside. The ocean feels distant, its ebb and flow blocked off by the centuries-old pinewood sarcophagus around you. In the darkness, you sense her eyes on you, inspecting you with their multicolored glass, as if you're a bug under a microscope. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye of what? Compassion? Remorse? As that soft word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the Delorean Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the small Pinewood Church in some records. It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers. There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them, the 7 Sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
A pang of guilt. The lieutenant is leaving something out.
I have a theory, yes. There was a police raid a while back. I heard the place was shot to pieces. The old woman in the village was being tactful with us when she didn't mention it. She has more respect for the RCM than many around here. Well, your station was involved, I hear, although I can't be sure. 3 precincts were involved in the raid, and people say Precinct 41 was one of them. I am pretty sure it was a clandestine operation, I don't know anything more about it, why it was conducted, or who participated. I try not to pry into extra-district matters. Good luck. You will not get information on a confidential operation from your station secretary just by calling. If you really don't remember, it might be better to keep this one forgotten. It happened a while ago. It's unimportant to our business in Martinez now.
Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is Her Innocence Dolores Day, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever as it haunts all men. The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit. More, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate an authentic rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office. No, we are alone. 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, many things, you know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene la Navigateur, Queen of Suresnes, modern-day Sir La Clé. Also that she was gorgeous beyond beauty. Draped in ancient sadness. Are you sure you want to remember this bit of historic trivia? Standing under a long, slender form like this, dwarfed? The past is a silo of sadness, fermenting. You should keep away. Terribly, women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state, a scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous. It was on her advice that Irene la Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale, a costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history, the DeLorean era. Wow, indeed. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. But terrifying, it's a simple word. She was bad for humanity, and you shouldn't have started thinking about her. You already do. Although she is often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Day, constantly surrounded by her terriers. She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs. The Mesk state tried to detach itself from innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacific, mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Day to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her.
Lieutenant Yefrater, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. What are you thinking of, if I may ask? Yes, glowing lungs are quite unusual. After that one time, they have not been reported to glow. You know, this church, the coast, we shouldn't linger. Finish what you came here to do and let's move on. This isn't a good place to get lost in.
The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems to exist beyond the church anymore. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent. And then it's gone, almost all of it, but for the faintest of hums. You can hardly hear your own breathing. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more total, somehow. Your voice is barely audible, not a howl, but the softest of whimpers. The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head. Then he leans closer.
Can you hear anything? I wonder why the church was built with such strange acoustics.
His detached tone conceals how uncomfortable he is. The lieutenant doesn't reply. but you can sense him tense up next to you. The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead. It's like there's something moving up there. A shadow has emerged from the tower and it's making its way toward you through all the other shadows. Yes, the darkness makes the ceiling feel infinitely far away. You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk to it. The shadow is a man made of the same stuff as the carpentry of the building. He is studying you intently. The crab man. The man leaned forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze, then speaks.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry, everything's gonna be all right. You come to the right place. Here you can receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
Hey, and what was that about the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shish.
Está crudo, way. I see deep inside you. Your body and your spirit are suffering greatly from overindulgence, and you don't even know it. I know it's hard to admit that you got a problem. I was like you once. Couldn't take an honest look into my own heart and see I was in pain.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
If the lieutenant agrees, then maybe, just maybe, you should pay attention. Look at these crazies. What is this? A fucking intervention?
Don't trust me. Trust the mother. I'm only the messenger, Holmes. This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
This Mother of Silence sounds like a serious player. You might want to be careful until you find out what you're dealing with.
Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa. Don't know, Holmes. No, I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear. That's what I said, Holmes. Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests. I'm afraid not, Essay. You just have to wait until she comes back, or
search through her radio computer.
too many times, Essay. You need it for something. Don't sweat it, vato. The password is afterlife death. What you think of that? Makes me almost pity la niñita pequeña when I hear it. Never known myself to be a crab, but if that's the name you got for me, I won't stop you from using it. I always thought of myself more like a flame, flickering along the rafters and beams. It may be that I gotta work on my technique. I was in a gangway, but my memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone. That's not really the point, I say. You gotta give yourself over to service. Service of the mother, that is.
Do you remember your name, sir?
The lieutenant is not particularly interested in this information. He's just trying to assert some control over the conversation.
Tiago's my name, but those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just your identity, but also your place amongst your fellows, your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore. That's just the thing, Holmes. None of that matters. This is a special place. There's a perforation in the world up there, a way out into nothingness. This church was built around it for purposes of veneration. I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly. No. There's a new god in town, and she can't be painted or sculpted because she has no limb or even a face. She is the end. She is a cavity in the dark beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes, and no one ever will. I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally, I won with the state of the world before reality began. It's not like that at all, man. It's just faith and joyful service. I heard that before, Way, and I know I can't convince you on the spot. But think, When's the last time you woke up from silent communion with a hangover, regretting what you did last night?
There are drugs darker than alcohol circling your system.
She took you for a good spin, huh? Don't worry, bro. That love is but a drop compared to the ocean of the mother's love. The mother will eat all of you and never spit you out. I can see, and it saddens me, but devotion can save you. It saved me. I know it will take time. Don't sweat it. I know it will take time. Don't sweat it. I'm a seraph, Holmes. I sing the mother's glory. I don't mean literal singing, Holmes. This is the mother of silence we're talking about. It's the singing of a burning heart. You may be thinking, but fire crackles. No, Holmes. That's the material that's burning. The flames themselves are without sound. Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. Up there, I realized what the true purpose of the church was. Been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, eh? It didn't belong to me.
Does it mean he witnessed the police raid?
I think they were. A long time ago. I had to shed them like skins to get closer to the center of the silence. You could have them. I don't need them anymore.
They'd only stop him from climbing. These shoes look pretty dapper, actually. The sinewy figure lingers on the wooden beams, blending into the shadows.
Something like that.
Did you witness it?
Not really. Or at least I don't remember much of it anymore. The mother's love has done its job. That's what's so great about the mother. It lets you forget about everything. The ones in the tent outside, right? I see them. Guessing they're the ones who call me a crab. Probably scared of me. Nah, man. They look pretty funny. And I don't harm no one anymore. Anyway. Wouldn't bother me none to have them spin music in here. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Might even be nice to have some company.
He said that in spite of himself. He's more attached to the human than he'd like to think.
I think we're done here, Essay.
That was an interesting conversation. However, I'm still not sure how it's relevant to our investigation.